I say what ho, this is Brian. Call me James Patrick Gardner, and you are listening to Ramble On Radio, episode number 43, the only Led Zeppelin podcast on this or any other known internets. And you can listen to us on iTunes. You can subscribe on iTunes. Leave a review. If you go into iTunes, leave a review. Helps out. You can listen to us on Spreaker. You can check us out. Check it out on YouTube at I Am Brian Dammit, and Spreaker I think might be under that same handle, or might be under Ramble On Radio. I'm not sure. Like us on Spreaker. Like us, by us I mean me. I do it all. Like on Spreaker, and also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and occasionally I post stuff and I let you know when there's updates, and follow me on Twitter as well. I'm there and I respond to people, and that's that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Jimmy Page today, but first off, Robert Plant announced a bunch of tour dates. I talked last time a bit about what's up for not a bit. It was about what's up for 2014, and significantly, Robert Plant, there was some tour dates at the time that were unofficial. He made them official the next day. So I guess me going on about it pressured the Plant camp to release details. That's what happened, folks. I'm telling you. They don't admit it. They won't answer my emails, but boy, they're paying attention. So anyway, it starts in the middle of June up in Northern Europe, Sweden, I think. I don't have the dates in front of me. And it actually runs through to a stop in Glastonbury, believe it or not, but not the festival. In August, the Glastonbury Abbey. I wanted to say cathedral, but Abbey, which actually looks like a really good. It's part of the festival. It's funny, The festival's the end of June. The Glastonbury Abbey Festival is in August, but they are part of the same group of festivals, like Glastonbury Inc. or whoever puts on both. And if you go to the Glastonbury website for the festival, they do have a part of their website focuses on this festival. So Robert Plant is appearing at Glastonbury this year, but not the big festival, the little festival 2 months later. He is that weekend. However, it's worth noting, that weekend, he is playing in Cork on, I think, the Friday. Either Thursday or Friday. And the Cork is now, it's a 9-hour trip, because you got to go to Dublin across. So for the trucks, right? Got to go to Dublin, shoot across into Wales, and then down to Glastonbury. But you look at it as the crow flies, it's right across the Celtic Sea. It's just... it's probably, if you can get a direct flight, I assume Cork and Glastonbury both have airports, If you can get a direct flight, it's probably about a 20-minute flight. It's really close. So, even a direct boat is probably just a couple hours, So who knows, maybe he could, but I wouldn't expect that. That's the only thing he's got on that weekend too, is Cork. So maybe he pops up at Glastonbury. I wouldn't expect it. Maybe as a fan. He's also hitting Japan for 2 dates. That was in August. And he was talking about North American dates as well. Nothing announced. There's more dates coming. There's lots more coming. I haven't even checked today if they've released new. There was talk about them releasing new dates as things go. So that's new in Robert Plant's world. And I'm having a quick peek at the Twitter here to see if you got to follow Led Zeppelin news on Twitter. He's way on top of this sort of stuff, like you wouldn't believe. Now, of course, he posts just a lot of selfies of people with Jimmy Page and stuff, which I wouldn't put on the website. But Twitter's a different beast, and he's running a different show over there, so that's what makes it all interesting, right? Believe me, he's full of news. James Cook is the guy who runs Led Zeppelin news on Twitter, and believe he's full of news. He's on top of things. He seems to know some people. He seems to get some inside information pretty quick. And he doesn't miss. If something hits the internet, he doesn't miss it. He's got it really fast. Which tells me that on Twitter, people are kind of sending him links going, hey, check this out, check this out. He's on top of things. All right. So happy 70th birthday, James Patrick Page, Jimmy, to his friends and fans. He turns 70 on the 9th, Thursday the 9th. I'm not going to tell you what day this is because it's really close to when I did the last one. But I posted on his birthday on the Facebook page. What would you do? I decided to do instead of you're going, what album are you going to listen to? I'm going to make a playlist on my iPad. The best of, a best of Jimmy. And so I posted on Facebook, and I kind of said Zeppelin and post-Zeppelin. Forgot all about the Yardbirds, actually. But what I didn't want to get, I kind of was ignoring the pre-Zeppelin because I didn't want to get into the studio stuff. Now you're getting into looking, and then people would be saying, oh, you got to look, you got to find this song, some obscure song somewhere. But Wyatt Brake posted a list, and he kind of pointed out the Yardbirds, things like Stroll On. Can you get Stroll On? Because I was looking for stuff from official releases, and I know Jeff Beck played in Train Kept a Rollin', which is what Stroll On really is. And Stroll On, they played it in the Fellini movie Blow Up. But there was some licensing issues or something, so they couldn't play Train Kept a Rollin', so they played Stroll On. Or for you aficionados, Tall Cool One. But Wyatt, listen, so I don't know, can you get that one? I'm not sure if that's true or not, if you can. But anyway, yeah, Stroll On. The Yardbirds. I ended up adding the Yardbirds to my list. I had nothing from Death Wish 2 on my list. Wyatt mentioned a couple. I just, and it's a case of trying to remember. There was one or two songs I liked on that, but I was trying to remember what they were, and I couldn't. And this is the problem when you get into Jimmy Page's other career. Either before or after, I have not listened to enough of it, or I haven't listened to it enough that I've solidly sunk in my brain. That's the song. Like all the Led Zeppelin stuff, I know. Like that song, love that song. I can go through the song list and go, no. I could pick every album apart, and there's not a song in there. I go, I really don't know that song very well. But I go through a solo album, and I know wasting my time, and I know, and it's not that I haven't listened to it. It's that. Probably haven't listened to it enough that every song stands out of my brain, right? So, Wasting My Time stands out. Prison Blues, for the very wrong reasons, stands out. So that's that was kind of the problem I ran into, and I did the same kind of problem I have with Robert Plant when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Some of those albums I haven't listened to enough to really have a good handle on which songs are great songs, which ones are okay songs. I know some of the songs for good or bad reasons. I've just heard them enough, or they've stuck in my brain for whatever reason. And there's a lot of stuff in the middle that it's just a case of having listened to it enough, not familiar enough, which is probably not something I should be saying on a Led Zeppelin podcast. But that happens, right? So Wyatt mentioned, for instance, Box. I completely forgot about the Box of Frogs, and so he mentions. I didn't write it down. A Box of Frogs. Now I have the Box of Frogs album he appears on. So I could have got that, and I completely forgot about it. But then I think I've listened to it twice, right? So there's not one that would stand out as that's the song. I had nothing, I had nothing from the Honey Drippers on my list, and that was just an omission. Probably Rockin' at Midnight would make the list. But it was later on I kind of thought of it. And I thought, oh yeah, there's he did a couple of solos on Honey Drippers. Definitely did the Rockin' Midnight solo. I'm trying to remember what other one he did. But I know he played on, I think it was two of those tracks. So there's nothing from Lucifer's Rising. I don't know if there's really a song on that you would put in. Maybe not, right? And of course, and Wyatt mentions Come With Me, which was an interesting one. I don't mind this. I mean, some people really hate it. I can tell you a Come With Me story. He played that on Saturday Night Live. I have a friend, my brother-in-law actually, who's a bit of He's a bit of a Led Zeppelin. He kind of knows music a little bit here and there. He's one of those guys that loves it when he hears it, but is peripherally, wouldn't sit and listen to a podcast like this, for instance, or certainly wouldn't make one. But knows what he likes and likes it a lot. Kind of the average music fan, right? And he was watching when he always talks about Jimmy Page is just, when you come up, when Led Zeppelin comes up, he'll say, Jimmy Page is just a god. He's unbelievable. So much stage presence, so much just jaw dropping. And he talks about he got this impression. This was his opinion based on Saturday Night Live when he did Come With Me. And he says this guy comes out and he's rapping, and it was awful. And there's Jimmy Page beside him, and he says it was jaw dropping. He says the audience stood and applauded, gave a standing ovation, and it was for Jimmy Page, not the song. He says it was jaw dropping watching him doing what he did beside this weak ass stuff. And so Come With Me is an interesting one because it's a modern take on it's an interesting modern take on what those guys were doing in a way, and it is by no stretch a Kashmir. It's no stretch as good as Kashmir. It's an interesting, and it's got a power to it. It's got an oomph and a power. Kashmir, that lick does, virtually on its own. That Come With Me manipulates, and it's in a good way. So I think that's worthy of inclusion on the list, and I didn't put it on mine, mostly because I didn't think of it when I was making it, and this came after. But I would consider putting it on the list. I would consider that. If I'm playing it in the car with my son, then it might be the only song I play all day, But anyway, so this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to go over my list, kind of talk about it casually, and if we get to some other stuff, we'll get to some other stuff. The same thing applies to there's another list. Maybe we'll start with that. There is a list on, I think it was Classic Rock Magazine, Jimmy Page's top 10 non-Zeppelin songs. Post Led Zeppelin Jimmy Page songs, top 10 in Classic Rock Magazine. And here is what they had to say. Number 10, Radioactive. I will talk about that in a bit. Number 9, Easy Does It from Coverdale Page. Had some mic problems there, and I don't know if it's. Everything sounds very different now, and I don't. Can you hear me okay? I don't know why I had these problems suddenly. How's that, guys? But everything sounds. I don't know. It comes up once in a while. You get that. It almost sounds like a jet taking off in the mic. And believe me, in my little dungeon studio here, if you've seen the video from when we did the contest, there's no room for a jet in here. It's a pretty tight room. Okay, Easy Does It from Coverdale Page. And here's one of the deals. This is one of the ones. Every couple of years I grab this album and I listen to it, and I love it. It's probably a 50-50 album, really. It's got 5 really good songs, great songs even, and 5 songs. And I listen to it, for a week, 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then it gets put away, and I forget about it. So it's one of those ones, and so I don't know the song Easy Does It. The only one from Outrider, this was the one Robert Plant sang on. And I would take that. Well over something like Prison Blues, which I funny thing about Outrider to me, and I may have mentioned this before, but I think it's such a strong album musically and such a weak album vocally and lyrically, and it's really, it shows how important a guy like Robert Plant is to what Jimmy Page does. I think when you listen to Prison Blues, what an amazing song, completely and utterly ruined by mindless drivel about a weasel in his trousers. It's awful. It's so, and you think, who is this 12-year-old you let sing on your album? And this amazing song. And he cuts this incredible track, and it's just wasted. Just wasted on a horrifically bad vocal performance with horrifically bad lyrics. And so, you can mock the Hobbits and Vikings and whatnot, but what Robert Plant did was create a lyrical world that matched the musical world that Jimmy Page was creating, and the rest of the guys in Zeppelin, obviously. And actually, there was I posted on the Facebook page on his birthday a video from when I wrote it down actually from class. I was actually going to use it as an intro, and I can't seem to get it off my computer, so it's not going to happen. But if you hear an intro, this is what it is. It's from Classic Rock Magazine's 2007 awards. Jimmy Page receiving the Living Legend Award, and Robert Plant sits down and says and gives a tribute. It's about a 2-minute tribute, and he mentions in it he was always proud of himself that he managed to match his lyrics to the music, that he managed to create a lyrical world that matched the musical world Jimmy was creating. And that's, to me, Outrider really shows that the Robert Plant song is simple, basic, unsubtle, and works really well. And so many other songs on the album are such great songs, and they don't, the person he let handle the microphone, just ruined it. So anyway, but yeah, the only one works. Someone to Love from the Firm. This is another one. Firm's one of those bands. Their first album I listened to a few times, and it had a couple of songs that I really didn't like. I did not like You Lost That Loving Feeling, the way they did it. There was something else I didn't like. So I kind of got put away, and there's 3 or 4 songs on it I like. I love Radioactive, but a lot of the rest of it, just these couple of songs just made me go, okay, really, And then their second album, I think I've listened to it 3 times. One of the things I don't like is Tony Franklin's bass work. Just don't. The fretless bass I can live without. I'll tell you that right now. Although I have a bass in the back I haven't played for years, and I've been working on. I've been doing guitar repair, and I'm actually thinking about converting it to a fretless, just for the project. Because I don't play it that much anyway, so what the heck, right? A Blue Train from Walking into Clarksdale. Again, another album I don't know the songs on. Every time I listen to it, I drift away. There's nothing interesting there to me. It's you put it on and you're kind of listening. Next thing you know, it's over, and you kind of go, oh, okay. I don't really remember any of that. Midnight Moonlight is a Firm song that I would. I like that. That's a good one. Pride and Joy from Coverdale Page, I think, is a great song. The Truth Explodes. I've never heard it called this, by the way. The Truth Explodes, a.k.a. Yalla, from Page and Plant. And, oh, yeah, I love that first Page and Plant album. And one of the things I love about it is the 2 new songs, right? Actually, there were 4, right? Wonderful One, Wah Wah, and City Don't Cry. And City Don't Cry and Yalla were so good, and such an example of how good these guys could be together. And Yalla especially, they're doing it in the market, right? And everybody around clapping, and it's just got that steady beat that Page loves working her over. And I love that song. That's a great song, and that's a great example of how good these guys could have been when they reunited. What a pity! What a pity! Walking to Clarksdale is what it is. And I don't know why that happened. There's just something about it that I don't know. Satisfaction Guaranteed from the Firm, with the, if I recall, the greatest slide solo on a beer bottle in a bar ever, from the video. If you've seen the video, you know what I mean. He grabs a beer bottle off somebody's table to do this solo. It's a complete hack, it's a complete hack up, right? But that's an alright song indeed. Please Read the Letter from Walking into Clarksdale. I added this one. I had to listen to it a couple of times. Go, okay, I'm going to add that to my list. So that's Classic Rock's list. Ultimate Classic Rock's list, and I'll go over it again real quick. Radioactive, Easy Does It, Outriders, Only One, Someone to Love from the Firm, Blue Train from Walking Near Clarksdale, Midnight Moonlight from The Firm, Pride and Joy from Coverdale Page, The Truth Explodes, aka Yala from Page and Plant, Satisfaction Guaranteed from The Firm, Please Read the Letter from Walking into Clarksdale. That is the top 10 songs according to Classic Rock Magazine. Now here's what I came up with for this is my Jimmy Page list, and I've given you the stuff that I missed, right? But this is my birthday list for Jimmy Page: Radioactive from The Firm, All the King's Horses from The Firm, Satisfaction Guaranteed from The Firm, and Midnight Moonlight from The Firm, which is something I like. It's one of those Jimmy Page really works the guitars thing. From Outrider, Wasting My Time and the Only One. From The Firm, Someone to Love. Sorry, I missed that one. From the BB Sister, now mine had Led Zeppelin in it too. You know what? I'll skip that. I'll skip that for now. Let's go to the non-Zeppelin, right? So I got Yalla from Page and Plant and Gallows Pole, which I think it's a kind of a cool version. Now I was gonna go with the Gallows Pole in the third album, which is a better version. But you play these head games with yourself. I had about 4 songs from the third album already, so I says, okay, Gallows Pole, and I do like the way he works it with the 12-string. So, Please Read the Letter from Walking to Clarksdale, Shake My Tree from Coverdale Page, Pride and Joy and Easy Does It, all both from Coverdale Page. This was one that Wyatt mentioned as a pre Zeppelin that I had missed completely, Beck's Bolero. And yeah, that belongs anytime, right? You can also, you get into the studio, the really basic studio stuff. You can do something like the Joe Cocker, and with a little help from my friends. But you're gonna be, you get into the studio stuff, and then you're getting into so much material, and so But yeah, you could throw that in, and Goldfinger. What the heck, right? And somebody mentioned one of the Tom Jones. It's Not Unusual, I think it was. Or She's a Lady, one of those songs. Yeah, that's okay. I'll take that. I got Roy Harper's The Same Old Rock on this. And to be honest, I don't really know the song. I've never seen the album Stormcock. Never seen it anywhere. I have been looking for it. So I'm trying to get my hands on a version of it, but it'll take time. I'll find it. But I hit the internet and I downloaded it. I hadn't done that up until now. So I got The Same Old Rock now. I'll give it a good listen. I really, other than what he did on Roy Harper's the birthday celebration thing, I really don't know that song. And I think I've seen the video of it and stuff. But so I'm going to give that a listen. Give that whole album a listen. I got The Train Kept A-Rollin' from Live Yardbirds featuring Jimmy Page. Now, I kind of trying to keep to the more common stuff. And I get that most of you don't have that, but I do. I have the album. And it's an official release, at least it was for a little bit of time. So, and there's rumors of that the Yardbirds have talked about re-releasing that, and Jimmy's actually into it. You talk about him doing the archives. Wonder if that Yardbirds album, if he would like to get it out the way he would like, make the take this crowd noises out and crap and stuff. Anyway, I also have White Summer from Little Games and Goodnight Sweet Josephine, and that's a single that the Yardbirds released, the Jimmy Page one, and it was re-released for Record Store Day a couple of years ago. And then, in my conversations with Wyatt, we talked about Jugula. How would you pronounce that? But yeah, and I kind of thought, geez, it's another one of those albums that's never really sat on me. You had listened to it and go, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I put it on last night for a good listen. Here's the album here, and if I had the cameras going, I'd show it to you. And I ended up pulling 2 songs off it, Hangman and Elizabeth. Now, there's a couple others that could work. You know what? This is another one. Jesus, Roy Harper's a lousy singer. At least on this one he is. Not Control lousy, not a punk lousy or Neil Young type lousy, just a lousy singer. He really has an uninteresting voice and marginally in tune most of the time. Really, he does nothing for me as a singer in this album anyway. And but when you ignore that and dig into what's going on there, Jimmy Page playing some nice guitar work on this, some nice acoustic guitar work in here. And I thought Hangman and Elizabeth were a couple of the best. Frozen Moment also. And that's kind of, the middle section of this thing. Hangman, Elizabeth, Frozen Moment, 20th Century Man are probably the 4 best songs. And they're in the middle of the whole thing. Hangman and Elizabeth also made the list. And then we get into the Led Zeppelin stuff. And this is a lot trickier because I could just go every one of them. And I'm trying to knock it down. I'm trying to wear it down a bit. So here's kind of what I came up with. And I'm looking at it now. And I know I'm missing so much stuff. Trust me, I know I'm missing stuff. And probably as I'm doing this, I'm going to go, oh, Christ, I can't believe I didn't put that. But I just kind of rolled through it fairly quickly. And I came up with What Is and What Should Never Be from BBC Sessions. I love the slide solo in that. And I love that version of it. It was one of my first Zeppelin live experiences. Was hearing that on the radio. Here in Toronto, Q107 used to play it probably about every 6 months, and I actually recorded it on my 8-track, and I used to listen to it. And then years later, into the 80s, a buddy of mine had it on cassette, and this is the version that it has this song, it has "Stairway to Heaven," has "Going to California." I'm trying to remember what else I remember. Definitely, there was a whole lot of love, and we used to listen to it driving around in his Chevette. And BTO fans will remember their manager Bruce Allen, when he was managing BTO, famously had a silver Vette with gold wheels that he would cruise around town in. Well, we used to cruise around town in a gold Chevette with white walls. So that's where we were at. But this is what we were playing. I've always liked that particular version. I've always liked that song anyway, and I love the little guitar solo in it. And so that got there. Kashmir from Celebration Day. This is a tough one because, well, you just pick Kashmir for anywhere, right? Kashmir, or Kashmir. You could have gone with the Page of Pledge. You could have gone with the original. If you wanted to dig into the bootlegs, you could have gone with, something there. Wearing and Tearing from Coda. Just because it's got that hot little lick. It's not necessarily my favorite song, but it's a Jimmy Page day, so it's that hot little lick, Over the Hill So Far Away, same thing. It's a song that I can take or leave it the best of times, and but it's got a great, that's Jimmy Page at his best on the acoustic guitar too. Fool in the Rain, love the guitar solo on Fool in the Rain, by the way. That's a great song. Good Times, Bad Times, and Since I've Been Loving You is fairly self-evidence. Out in the Tiles. Which is just it's a hot little guitar lick, and it's a great groove, and it's a favorite song. So hey, my list, Out in the Tiles, is on it, and That's the Way, which is to me Jimmy Page on the acoustic at the best. The third album's the one I think I've talked about this before. I fell in love with Led Zeppelin on the third album. That was the one, and I could live without Immigrant Song ever being on that album. It's only really in the last 10 years I've grown to appreciate Immigrant Song. I always kind of bypassed it, or it was, look, my parents would come in the room and go, I'm screaming like a monkey, and Immigrant Song was the one where he screams like a monkey. It was, I could always live without that one. But it was, and it's a whole other tangent here, but when people talk about, you say you're a Zeppelin fan, they go, you must, they start talking about Black Sabbath, and you think, no. I'm a Led Zeppelin fan. I love That's the Way and Out in the Tiles and Since I've Been Loving You. Not friggin' Paranoid. They're two different worlds, and anybody who compares those two worlds drives me nuts. Listen to the third album, then come back to me and talk about Black Sabbath. So, but that's my, that's where the album that made me go, oh, these guys are incredible. From the fourth album, Battle of Evermore, Black Dog. And this is you could do almost every song in it. You could just put that album on, say the best of Jimmy Page in a way. So I went with I love Battle of Evermore, the mandolin on it. And Black Dog's just hot licking. Could have been rock and roll. Could have been Stairway to Heaven. Could have been Four Sticks. Great guitar part in Four Sticks. Could have been Going to California, that's a sweet acoustic guitar piece. Could have gone When the Levee Breaks. I mean, you just, Sometimes you have to just choose, right? Same goes for physical graffiti. Which ones? So Night Flight is one I just love, and In My Time of Dying is probably Jimmy at his finest. To a degree anyway, soulful best, right? The artist at work is In My Time of Dying. Achilles' Last Stand is an astounding guitar piece. You can't not put that on in a tribute to Jimmy. And I probably could have put another song or two from Presence, but chose not to. And then live from Celebration Day, Rock and Roll and Celebration Day. Sorry, not from Celebration Day, from Song Remains the Same. Rock and Roll and Celebration Day. And again, could have gone Song Remains the Same. Could have gone into Days of Confused, but it's just too long for my... and I could have got into How the West Was Won. Yeah, I picked a few things out of that. Heartbreaker maybe out of that, but I didn't. You're trying to make it a list that you can throw on and play too, right? And that's 36 songs. So that's where I stopped it. But yeah, there's so many others you could do, isn't there? Again, almost all of Presence from a guitar player perspective is astounding. Almost all of 4 you could play. Almost all of 3 I could put on. Even an Immigrant Song nowadays I could take. It's like a clinic in how to play various types of guitars and banjos and mandolins. So you could, you go on and on and on. So that was my little list. But hey, head over to the Facebook page, find the post, put your list. What did you listen to on Jimmy Page's birthday? That's what I came up with, and I know I'm missing some stuff. I'd love to hear what I haven't mentioned one way or the other that you think is missing, especially from the non-Zeppelins. I know that I missed a lot of Zeppelin stuff. I know you could go into the whole, and I've explained this, right? It's already 36 songs long. There's just so much missing. I get that. If you think something really belongs to be there and I missed it, if you think you can't do a Jimmy Page tribute without Communication Breakdown, or Babe, I'm going to Leave You, or Carousel Alhambra or something, by all means mention it, but really I'm more interested in the outside of the Yardbirds, and then after the post-Zeppelin. Go over there and do it. And I'm going to put up another one, I think, maybe right now I'll do this. I'll post another one in the next day or two anyway, asking what's his best studio work. What would you pick as his best studio stuff? And I would go with the Joe Cocker. Some of the Tom Jones stuff are fun songs, and he's playing in those. Some of those other stuff he's barely playing, right? He's just kind of strumming along or something. So it's hard to pick, But so what is his best? Either his best work or the best songs that he worked on in the studio. You got to go Goldfinger. Yeah, you got to go. And then you get into the argument about the Who. Is I can't explain on the list. And there was my microphone being all funny again. But anyway, I'm checking out now. Anyway, so not worried too much about my microphone. So that was it. That was Ramble On Radio, episode number 43. Download us on iTunes. Go to iTunes and leave a review. Go to Spreaker and follow us, and listen to me on Spreaker. Go to YouTube. I am Brian. Damn it. And you can listen to them. You can't really watch. It's not a video of me doing it. I tried that once or twice. And I spent all sorts of time just organizing the video, and I just, screw this. I might try it again. It seems like a logical place to go. But we'll see. I don't want to get locked into that. Follow us, find Ramble On Radio, the group on Facebook. And you have to, it's the way these things work, you have to ask permission. But as long as you have a Facebook profile that's not 10 minutes old, if I see you're friends with a lot of the people that are already in the group and stuff like that, or if I just see a profile that's there that I know is not spam, I'm allowing you. There's nothing like that going on. But you have to. It's just a Facebook thing. You have to actually ask to be. I'll get to that fairly quick and do it. And you can follow me on Twitter. Easy peasy. It's Ramble On Blog, I believe, is the handle I use. I should check it, shouldn't I? Ramble On. You can search Ramble On Radio. It's at Ramble On Blog, but I go by the name Ramble On Radio. Search either one, and you will find me. And I think got it all. There's so much now, eh? There's so much. That's it. It was nice talking to you. I will see you next week for episode number 44. Happy birthday, Jimmy Page. Happy birthday, John Paul Jones. And go out, get your Robert Plant tickets. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And next week, I think we're going to talk about the movie, the documentary Robert did. That's the plan. That was the plan this week. But once the birthday came up, I kind of realized I got to talk about Jimmy at 70. So that's it. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to Ramble On Radio.
To switch off the internet.